Hello, assalamu alaikum, good morning, khush aamdeed, ji aya nu, goeiemorgen.
Bakher Agale, Ni Hao, Tunashume, Washmale, Ohio, Gazaimis, Guten Morgen, Hola, Bonjour, Privyet, Kaifahal, Halishuma Chotore, Ahlan Wasalan Marhaba, Buna, Mucho, Gracias, Swabiab, and a very amazing good morning to everybody who's tuned into PTV World and are watching ball this morning alongside the very fantastic, the very amazing, the very talented Shiza Hashmi and Shahzad Khan on a Tuesday morning. Hello, Shiza. How are you today?
I'm absolutely great, thank you for asking. And I was thinking maybe one day if you let me open your part, then I can say all these good things about you.
Well, why not? Why not? Okay, let's give it a try. Come on, go ahead.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Well This Morning with Shiza Hashmi and the very amazing, the super talented, the super energetic
Wow.
Shahzad Khan.
Yeah, well, it feels great. Honestly, early in the morning, if you get a compliment that too
I know,
from a colleague you work with, I think that it makes your day. And thank you very much, Auntie, because you promised me a kurta. Ladies and gentlemen, yesterday when we were live and, Shiza was actually kind of telling that, her mother sponsored the wardrobe. So I said and I asked, I think that this is how it should be, that I, being on a cheaper side, asked for a wardrobe from Auntie as well. And she agreed, and she's going to send me a kurta. So, Auntie, thank you very much. You're the best auntie in the world. So that's great.
All right. And Shahzad, talking about compliments, you said it does make your day.
Yep.
Compliments have that sort of magic in them. I mean, I sort of feel like it's my responsibility, every person that I see. I love there's this one thing that I feel like every person has that you have to love. I mean, you can't really hate a person because they have something, of course, first of all, given by the Almighty that is so unique in them. So obviously you love people around you, and then it's also important to compliment because it also happens in our office. Early in the morning, whenever we are going into the makeup room, I think whenever we see each other, the first thing that we do is, hey, you're looking nice, and then, it goes on. I feel like it's a circle of kindness and happiness. You give it out, it comes back to you towards the end of the day.
Exactly. And, the only point which I wanted to highlight, ladies and gentlemen, is that, these days what I've witnessed is that, if everybody, gives in, everybody puts in a lot of effort to look good, and everybody wants, the other person to actually compliment as well. But other than that, what I've witnessed so far is that, if you'll come across a person and you'll be like, oh, you're wearing a nice tie. Oh, your shirt's nice too as well. Oh, look at your shoes. They're so cool. I mean, what people are reluctant of is of the fact that they're not willing to compliment the person who's wearing that tie or the shoe or that same shirt.
Oh, I understand.
So please make sure that you do not really compliment the things which the people are wearing or carrying. In fact, compliment the person and it will have a positive impact.
Absolutely. And speaking of, how everyone is literally, into dressing up amazing these days, that's of course, first of all, I feel like because of social media, because everything is, the trends and everything, it's in your phone. You just have to keep up with it. So Pakistan happens to own actually a huge textile industry.
Yes.
We manufacture, we export, sometimes even import. But speaking of exporting, Pakistan happens to be the 5th largest country in Asia in terms of exporting cotton/textile. And well, 60% of Pakistan's export is cotton.
Exactly.
And,
talking about that, ladies and gentlemen, where we're talking about textile industry is definitely the backbone of the country.
Yeah.
And in the previous 2 decades, I think textile industry has done quite a lot and very well as well. But other than that, I think with the changing regimes, there have been downfall. And there have been a few issues which we definitely wanted to highlight on our show, and we'll take advantage of the opportunity that people from different walks of life have actually joined us today to talk about all of this. But talking about textile industry, other than that, the 60% of the economy actually is working from textile industry. We really have to consider that where can we actually give them the benefit so that they can actually help the country's economy as well. And other than that, I think whenever we talk about textile industry, it's 46% of total manufacturing and 38% of total job market. So please, I think that everybody needs to pay heed to or probably be aware of how important textile industry is for Pakistan. Other than that, the best part is that eventually and very slowly and gradually, Pakistan has actually been able to develop clothing brands over here in Pakistan by themselves. Now, as a matter of fact, when we talk about textile industry, I would definitely want it to be very vertical in nature, and it's because of the fact that there are few industries who are actually making what do we call it, thread, probably, that's what we call it.
All right.
But when we talk about the vertical concept from the thread, it needs to be actually manufactured into a piece of cloth, and from a piece of cloth it needs to be manufactured into a jeans. but this is not working. And I think that these are the things which we really need to put in effort.
Yeah.
Other than that, there are a few core issues which we'll highlight right at the beginning so that we can actually ask them. We do not have, unfortunately, we have not been joined by somebody who can actually, let us know about what the government thinks about it. But we're very lucky that we've actually been joined by somebody who served as the joint secretary within the textile ministry as well. So we'll be asking him these questions, but we cannot take them seriously. It's because of the fact that he used to work with the government and he's not working anymore. So talking about that, what the government needs to do, I think that first of all, the government actually needs to, for all of those electricity bills, for example, they're different in Sindh, the tariffs are very different in Sindh, and the tariffs are different in Punjab. So how do you think that the cost of production will actually be the same for each and every industry? I think that this is one issue. And there are multiple issues which we want to
Absolutely.
build up on. So without any
We'll
further
build
ado.
up on that towards the end when we're talking about the solutions, right?
Exactly. So, without any further ado, ladies and gentlemen, obviously for all those ladies who are out there, I think that this show is going to be very interesting for all of you.
Yeah.
It's because of the fact that all of you want to wear new dresses every single day.
Yeah, we don't mind.
So on my right hand side, ladies and gentlemen, we've actually been joined by Mir Ajaz Hussain Talpur Saab. He's the ex-joint secretary, Federal Ministry of Textile. Hello, sir. Assalamu alaikum. How are you?
Walaikum assalam, sir. I'm fine.
Sir, good morning and thank you very much for joining us. It's wonderful to have you.
Thank you, my pleasure.
Thank you very much. Alongside me, Rajaz, ladies and gentlemen, we have been joined by a lady.
Yes.
I've witnessed the kind of work she brings to the table, and it's because of the fact that she's given me quite a lot of kurtas and waistcoats for free. But other than that, they really did look very well as well, and they were very much on point. And she's one of those people who, for a decade, has been a teacher as well, and has been teaching students the art of textile fashion designing herself. She's none other than, she's a designer herself. She's none other than Miss Sumaira. Hello, assalamu alaikum. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for having me again.
Thank
It's
you
our
very much for
pleasure.
joining
Let me
us.
mention that first of all, you look beautiful.
Thank you.
And Sumaira designed her outfit today. Of course, perks of being a designer. Whenever you feel like, an idea in your mind, you just wear it. It looks stunning.
This is what we do.
Yeah.
It looks absolutely
This is our bread and butter.
And this is what we do, yeah. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, moving on, last but not the least, one of the very bright students which Sumaira actually worked very hard on as well. Well, these are the things which we'll have to figure out as well.
Yeah.
He's a textile designer, fashion designer himself. Ladies and gentlemen, he's none other than Mr. Nabil Rahat. Hello, assalamu alaikum. How are you?
Walaikum salam, I'm fine.
Thank you very much for joining us. And Nabil, ladies and gentlemen, since it's his first interview, he decided to take along each and every piece he's got at home. And here he is, table is full of cloth and whatnot. So Nabil, I'll actually start with you. What are
Yes.
these things right in front of us?
These are actually felt pieces which I made myself. It's not
Go on,
Yeah,
go
yeah.
on.
it's not that famous in Pakistan, but mostly in US they do felting, but I did in proper detailed.
All right.
What is felting? I mean,
And this is
Felt-
handmade, like
Felting
right?
is like you take wool from sheep,
Okay.
and then there is a lengthy procedure to do this. Lots of detergents and all.
so you have to wash
You
it
have
first.
to wash it
Okay.
exactly.
And then
Okay.
you just have to paste it.
No.
then-
You have to align all the pieces
Okay.
on its place, and then you have to wash it with detergent and press it with hot water, roll it again and again and again, and then you will get the masterpiece.
Oh,
All
wow.
right.
This
And,
does
and,
look
and
like
where
a
can we use felting? I mean,
You
I
can
don't
use
know,
it as like decoration pieces
Okay.
in your homes, but it's very delicate. You can't use it like holding this to your children, like use it,
All right,
throw
so
it.
children
turn
cannot
it.
play. Children
Exactly.
cannot. Nobody can be very casual around felting pieces.
Exactly.
All right,
All
that's great.
right.
Thank you very much for making us understand. But Misa, let's get started with you. So textile industry is the backbone of the economy of the country over here in Pakistan. But we are a developing nation. We have a lot of other issues. There's inflation. The minimum wages are quite high. The production costs are going up. 10 to 15% of textile has shut down. A lot of people has moved to Bangladesh. Where do you think the textile industry is going?
Sir, I am optimistic. Pakistan is still the 50% or 50, to be very specific, 57% export is textile based.
Okay.
Starting from the cotton, raw cotton, then
Right.
cotton yarn, then the garments
Yep.
and other made-ups. These all are the cotton-related, textile-related products, which still we are exporting. The reason for the downfall between 2008 to the 2018 was mainly the power sector. We have energy crisis, we have demand of the gases and both the electricity and the textile, actually the textile sector, especially the machinery, was converted from the traditional oil to the first to the electricity and then to the gas. So the moment it converted into the gas sector, there became acute shortage because we already have planned gas for the CNG stations. So this actually this made this WAC problems and resulting the severe demand on one side and then the shortage of the supply, as we know this is the rule of the economy. Now things have improved. The power sector have already started coming, and already there is 10,000 plus megawatt electricity in the system. Even we are importing LNG. So both sectors now are enjoying as far as the problem from the power sector is concerned, it have almost been overcome.
Okay.
But since most of the people have already shifted to the other countries where, for example, as you narrated the glowing example of the Bangladesh, why its export is boosting, mainly that their export is ready-made garments related. But we have total chain starting from the agriculture project of the cotton, then raw cotton, then yarn. We still are the second largest exporter of the cotton yarn in the country. And in the same way, we are the eighth largest exporters of the textile products in the Asia. But at the same time, our domestic market is so much huge that we are the third consumer of the textile products and the raw cottons in our mills. Yes. So the other thing was that if you recall, 2010 we have a lot of floods in our country. So that actually led our agriculture cotton production downfall. And since this was a main product input for this textile industry, therefore this led to the increased demand from the textile.
Okay, that makes perfect sense. And since you, Sumaira, we have been discussing, issues that do withstand within the industry and within the growth of the industry, of course. Talpasar mentioned that the power cut issues sort of have been looked after. I'm not really sure if that is entirely true at this point in time, because I've been reading news in the morning and there have been similar, issues. But speaking of employment, Shahzad mentioned that 38% of the labor force is actually employed by the textile industry. Yes, thank you. But a lot of your graduates, a lot of textile graduates all over Pakistan are unemployed. You, Sumaira, you are self-employed, which is absolutely amazing to look at. But let's see, if when you were studying and then after you graduated and everything, if you unfortunately, God forbid, had to go to the same process, how would you sustain first of all your life, and how do you think that is contributing towards the deterioration of this industry? No graduates, no educated people for the industry.
Shahzad, that's a very, that's a reality basically that we're facing, and it's a very torturing aspect that we produce, every year we produce more than 100 or 200 plus graduates.
Right.
But once they come in the market, they don't have jobs.
Yeah. Right.
Basically, the main problem in the capital is that we don't have a proper industry.
Okay.
But yes, like in Lahore and Karachi, we do have proper institutes, proper organizations that do hire these graduates, but definitely then they have to travel.
Yeah.
But still, as Sir mentioned, that the industry is not flourishing because of these domestic issues like electricity and gas. Although we're one of the largest cotton producers, like he's right that we start from scratch. Like we cultivate cotton, we harvest cotton, and then we produce the yarn, and then we produce the fabric, and then now you see with this designer campaign of lawn, we have like made the lawn a luxury thing.
Absolutely.
So, and like in our institution, we send designers to the market so that like people can hire them, and we work on this industry more and more and make it more popular.
Right,
but yes, that is one factor, that we don't have places or positions for these graduates to actually work.
Yeah, which is why I would love to add on to the same thing which you just said, and it, ladies and gentlemen, it's very true, and I'm going to speak at the best of my knowledge as well. since one of my brother-in-law happens to be general manager for a textile industry as well. So I was in conversation with him and I was asking him. So just 6 months or 7 months ago, he didn't had a job. So imagine that this is the kind of affairs textile industry is dealing with. And earlier there was a time, I mean, before 2008, for example, 2000 till 2008, there was a time that textile engineers who were actually hired as general managers will be given a car, you know, they will have a house to live in, and they would have a proper luxury life. Now, for an industry to survive on its own, how do you think that that they're going to retain the job market? Which is why I'm just going to move on to you, and I would love to ask. So, how long that you have been graduated so far?
It's like 4 or 5 months.
It's 4 or 5 months.
And I'm unemployed.
Unemployed. Yeah. So,
Exactly.
and when you apply to other textile institutes or the other textile industries, what's the first response you get from them?
They just don't look at our work. They just ask if you have experience or not. If you don't have experience, you don't.
But how can a graduate have experience?
Exactly. That's the main thing. I'm going to ask everyone that how are we supposed to manage?
All right.
We fresh graduates, where are we supposed to go? Everyone asks for whether we have experience or not, and the salaries are very low.
Absolutely.
In fact, we have spent a lot of money on this degree, and we want our reward, our parents.
And the reward will come sooner or later. We will just have to be a little patient over here.
Yes, I just have to like cut you guys over here. I have to talk about this piece. Nabil, you made this. This is hand printed. Tell us all about it.
It's hand printed through, and I printed it screen printed, and the theme was Mary Mecco.
Okay.
So it was inspired from a theme, Mary Mecco, and the colors were like yellowish, bluish, and all of the colors were like proper.
So what is screen printing? So is it like that? Is it that piece of you put on top of the cloth and then you rub this thing off?
Exactly. That's the thing.
And it does not go away after the wash.
Exactly. It's permanent.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, that's great. So this industry is booming in Pakistan. Let's talk about the fashion trends in Pakistan related to textile industry. This is one piece. What are the other pieces you brought with you?
Should I?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead. Ladies and gentlemen, these are talented, amazing people who've actually got the degrees as well. And look at the type of shape industries.
Screen printed as well.
Okay, wow.
And the theme was jewelry print.
Oh, it's really
So
pretty. Looks even prettier on screen though.
Yeah. So when when you do all of these printing on these pieces of clothes, your mother might ask for one, your sister might ask for another one as well.
Everyone asks for
How do you
free.
fulfill their wishes?
Oh, never do it for free.
The only issue here is like people ask things for free.
Right.
Yeah, it's a habit over here.
I'll mention one point here. That's how the students are misused.
Yeah.
You know, when they graduate, people think they're just piece of cake. We can, use them everywhere, and we can misuse them.
Yep.
So that's why, like, they face these issues very oftenly.
Right.
Either they're not paid well, or people put them on different tasks. They're like they have a different degree, but they're supposed to work for something else. So, this is the concept that we have in the industry.
Which
They
is not
don't
a good
take
one,
them
though.
seriously.
Also not a good one.
Yeah.
But moving on to you, Mr. Talpur, this was a few weeks ago when our Prime Minister Imran Khan was meeting with Donald Trump. And of course, there were, talks about how bilateral trade should be promoted. Now, when we're looking at the US is totally almost abandoning China products, be it whatever, be it electronics, be it textile, whatnot. So do you feel like there's a market that Pakistan should now tap in the US regarding textile? And how that can actually contribute so much to Pakistan's economy?
Well, I have to disclose you that Pakistan's textile export, as far as concerned, we bulk of our more than 50%. Rather, USA is the top most importer of the Pakistani product.
Wow.
Then we export to the European Union.
All right.
And as earlier we were discussing why our export is shrinking, the reason was that we have not explored the other avenues like Japan, like Middle East.
And we should?
Yes, we should.
Okay.
Even there are some items which China there are in demand in China.
Exactly.
Even India through the Bangladesh. Even Bangladesh is asking for many products for sport related textile. Even our bedwear, our towels are the number one in the world. So this is not only although we will get edge because products of the textile products of the China are much cheaper
Yeah.
because of many reasons. They have cheap labor and they have
Right.
now advanced
electricity
technology
as well.
which we lack. We are
Yeah.
still traditional technology and our labor is not that much skilled. That's why it, more cost incentive. So there's we need diversification.
You've definitely made a point
Okay.
over here, and diversification is definitely required, ladies and gentlemen. But
Yes.
there's this one simple thing which I think that the administration needs to realize, and that is that for all of those people whom we have as ambassadors in other countries, I think that those ambassadors needs to have a greater grip on businesses and how businesses work, rather than PR or rather than having a relationship. It's different. But ladies and gentlemen, on the diplomatic front, I think that our ambassadors need to be businessmen by thought process naturally, and so that they can actually benefit both the economies wherever they're posted and back home as well. And this is not happening. So I want the people who are actually picking up all of those people to represent Pakistan, please make sure that they can actually help get businesses into a better shape and into a better place as well. But with that, we are actually going to go share a trailer from the movie Abstract. Go ahead, take a look. I mean, you guys will come back. We'll talk about the lawn phenomena. Let's do it. Good morning.
Here's the story, the message, the feeling, the connection. It's design.
You go, oh my God, how am I going to solve this problem?
I really want to affect as many people as possible.
Honestly, nobody wants authenticity.
Tastemaking takes time. So if you get it wrong, you get it really wrong.
It's the best storytelling product we've ever done.
It was widely discussed that I had pushed it too far.
What are you going to make the audience feel? Something true.
It's the kind of shit we do.
I wanted to make something that would excite people about the future.
All I care about is what's happening on the page.
What can I make next? That drive never goes away.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. For everybody who just got tuned into PTV World, you watching World this morning alongside Shiza Hashmi and Shahzad Khan. Ladies and gentlemen, today is a very different morning because for the very first time on World this morning on PTV World, we're talking about textile industry and the outcomes of the textile industry. Because as a matter of fact, right at the beginning of the show, Shiza actually mentioned that 60% of the economy of Pakistan is actually from textile, 38% of the job industry is from textile, and total manufacturing industry comprises of 46% is by textile as well. So definitely plays a very important role, and we definitely want the same industry to actually prosper, but not to come down, all right? And which is because of the fact that there are a lot of other things which we wanted to discuss, and we'll continue the conversation. And she's just going to take the lead.
And
Let's
since
go ahead.
Shahzad, you mentioned these, absolutely on-point stats already. So one of the very important things about Pakistan's textile industry, or the famous thing, is lawn products that we make. And for all the ladies out there, I mean, men are into it, of course, yes, because for the sake of buying, because they need to. But for ladies, it is a huge interest. So Mera, you will agree with me, lawn wars going on as soon as, we come out of winter and everything. And women are spending thousands and thousands of rupees on one lawn suit. Not even, in the break we were speaking about how a lawn suit used to come out of an industry or whatever, or a factory, and it was priced at 300 rupees because it's just a cloth that you're going to wear. But then you have branded it, and it comes at what starts from 12,000 and goes onward. Where are we going with it?
You're very right. The lawn craze is why so much in our country, because we have a longer summer season as compared to winters, and women in our country are actually waiting for summers because we have, like, every designer comes up with their own catalog, and it's not just one catalog or maybe one time launch. We have volumes. Yes, we have 1, 2 and 3 volumes, and there's so much competition. And then because of this concept of lawn, the women buy the lawn, and the very next day they actually get it made by their tailors, and then there's a kitty party. There's a competition who's wearing it first. So
as long as the competition is healthy.
It is healthy, but I like this concept. Why? Because like, our industry is growing. Lawn is one very prime factor in the fashion and the textile industry, and we have worked so much on it, because initially lawn was just the fabric or the print, but now they have experimented with it. Like, there are embroidered patterns in it, then they have embellishments, they have experimented with the fabric itself.
And it's not just 3-piece anymore. There's so many panels.
There's so many
it's
panels.
9-piece.
Yes, the tailors go crazy.
Look at these ladies talking about lawn and getting excited by themselves, ladies and gentlemen. This is one thing everybody needs to realize.
But this is a great thing. Yes, you very rightly said this is a big part of Pakistan's textile industry, and it's growing because of that. But one of the reasons why Pakistan is lagging behind so many other countries in the world, not only in Asia, is I absolutely forgot what I was
but I must have, I must say over here, ladies and gentlemen, because Shiza just mentioned that the competition is great if it's healthy. So the competition is not healthy at all, and it's because of the fact that earlier people actually used to, jumble up or have a stampede if there was a sale going on or something. Now things have changed. They just get to know all that, AY or XYZ brand is actually coming up with their fresh launch. Okay, everybody's there, everybody's snatching from another person as well. And I've seen, even at my place, I'm very sorry to say this, that a lot of suits do go to waste. And I've seen my sisters calling people in Faisalabad and Multan to get those pieces or item numbers which are not available over here. Once they're here, they don't like them, they're still here. And the worst part, I'm sorry that I actually have to say this, but the worst part is, I mean, we people, we do not know the concept of how to use things properly. And as a matter of fact, what I've seen and what I've witnessed is that women do not dress up for their men. Women actually dress up for other women.
Thank you so much for saying that.
Yeah, and when they do dress up, they really do not want to change or wear the same dress again, which is why I think that the industry is booming. But the only question which I wanted to ask was that this piece of cloth which we are talking about, lawn, used to be 300 and 400 rupees, where our mothers, I can recall when I was a kid, my mother would be like, oh, 300-400 mein tumhari shalwar kameez ban jayegi. Things like these. How come that lawn has become so luxurious and expensive, even if that we have actually kind of treated it differently, or their embellishments, just the way you said. how can it be so expensive?
How
Initially,
come it's a
why?
commodity
Because,
now?
Yeah.
we had specific brands that were running the lawn industry, and they were famous. They used to produce good quality, but there wasn't much of the experimentation. With this concept of designer lawn, so no, when you have the term designer, it becomes a luxury altogether, right? So with that concept, and then with a lot of designers running in this mill, they have added on to the stuff. Initially, it was just 3-piece, but now it has gazillion pieces. Their embroidery patches, their embellishment with it. Then obviously, as I said earlier, they have experimented with the fabric as well. And then, you know, with this, the lawn that designers are now producing, there's a long process involved in it.
It's like a jigsaw puzzle.
Yeah, and then, you know, if you see the ad campaigns, the way they design it, the way they produce it and throw it in the market. Yeah, they have made it so glamorous that obviously the cost adds up to the product.
Exactly. The
It's
entire
like building
front
up
of
a
the
market, actually.
the entire front of the Centaurus Mall is just branded by these lawn brands, ladies and gentlemen.
I agree, yes.
So imagine every time somebody is going to go around, they'll be like, okay, probably I might go and check at least that you know what's going on.
And most of the times when you go check, you end up usually buying 1 or 2 products, yes. So before, when I was talking about how the industry is sort of deteriorating compared to the other countries in the world, because Pakistani industry is not producing sustainable products. I mean, the cotton that even we are producing, we cannot upcycle, recycle or reuse it. And so to manufacture a new cotton product, we again have to use, like, you know, hundreds and thousands of tons of water and whatnot. So looking after the SDGs when you are producing or manufacturing a product, whatever company that you're belonging to, I think that is important. That is what's happening in China, Japan, Bangladesh, all over the world, even in Vietnam and African countries.
Exactly.
Why not in Pakistan? Let's start with you.
Let me to add in that scenario, already it was explained by Madam Sumera for the fashion products. Those products actually not are being changed in year-wise, but now they are by season-wise.
Right.
The moment next season comes, the next design comes, and the moment after 3 months, if new design comes, people start rushing to those new designs, and it means the shelf life life of that product is only 3 months. So this is one trend, and that trend was first introduced in the Europe, and now even in the Pakistan, the most bigger brand now are also actually following it.
Right, you're right, absolutely. So my question remains, I mean, when we are talking about sustainable products that we're manufacturing, keeping in line with the SDGs, we of course do not even stand in the line, you know, of the people who are following it. Why not? And when are we going to get there?
I have to be very blunt on this aspect. This is relatively a new aspect, which is being followed all around the world.
Right.
But sorry to say, we're not working on it. Why? Because we're just under the domestic issues. We don't have electricity. We don't have, you know, gas issues. How can we work on something that is avant-garde? You know, the West. The West is working on, is going in the future.
Right.
They're looking on recycling process, they're looking on the durability, how socio and eco-economic products are made.
Absolutely.
But we're just fighting for the gas and light, and you know, so how can how can a new generation think on those terms?
No, I agree with you, and I sort of understand where that's coming from as well. So I think before we even think about, you know, making sustainable products, we really have to tackle all those issues that stand before them. But coming on to you, Nabil, you being the younger generation of this industry, whenever you're creating your own work, you definitely get inspiration from other people or other artists' works. But there's a certain difference between inspiration and plagiarism, and I feel like a lot of people, yes, of course, a lot of people feel like these lines are blurred and they go beyond the lines of, you know, inspiration and just blatantly start copying. First of all, please promise me you're never going to do that. Second of all, how is that working for Pakistan?
And copying, ladies and gentlemen, is still a little bit of hard work. What I've witnessed people myself is bringing pieces of clothes from outside and putting their own labels on it. So yeah, that's cheating. Please don't do that to other people. Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, exactly. I have seen many brands doing that. In fact, I bought shoes from Dubai and saw them here in stores, here in stores, and even I upload status because brands usually copy most of the designs which are being used outside Pakistan, foreign countries. They just usually copy them because there is no such department who can check and balance regarding the copyright issues here in Pakistan. Exactly.
Okay, well, that's great, and thank you very much for saying that. But then, at the same time, you know, for example, we were talking about lawn industry as well, and how they have groomed and how they've actually made sure that people are going to go crazy about it. First thing which I wanted to say is that I think that this is one of those industries where Pakistanis have actually supported the industry itself by consuming the same product by themselves as well. It's a greater thing. But then, as a matter of fact, who decides and how does it become, you know, after every 3 months or 4 months, we see there's a new range of clothing pieces out there with new designers coming in. Who decides that, okay, you know, it's going to be floral this time, it's going to be this time? And where do we, or all of these textile designers are taking inspiration from? Is it from France? Is it from elsewhere? Is it from Italy?
I think it's people like Sumaira who decide what's coming up, right?
I wish.
No, but we definitely have to follow for the global trends which are going on, right?
In fact, designers usually like textile designers. We basically depend. It depends upon our mood.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the fashion trends, which are famous these days, or the later in West.
Yes.
So there are people who want to wear those expensive dresses, but they can't afford that. So people like us, designers here in Pakistan, try to make similar clothes with such the same floral patterns.
Yeah, so that you feel great.
Exactly.
And you don't
so that
feel
you
left
don't
out.
feel like you are you can't afford them. You can wear them, the same dresses, the same cuts the fashion designers usually make.
Exactly. Thank you
That's
very much
great.
for saying that as well. But with that, we have a segment, sir.
Yes.
We're going to share a picture with you, and you actually have to let us know what did you perceive or conceive of that picture.
Yes.
All right. So please, can we have the picture of the day very quickly? Go ahead, sir. What do you have to say? So it's all made by thread. It's a pigeon made by a thread. That's how cool it is.
Looks like copper wires or something.
Yeah. What about you? Let's start from you, Mr. Designer. What do you have to say about this picture?
It looks like something.
Can you make anything like this?
Yeah,
You can try,
definitely
right?
You can do it with the felt.
I mean, we can see a horse.
can
over
be
there.
made
Sumaira's like,
with
you
felt.
can do it. I've taught you this.
I can make it.
So, madam, what
My
is this
teacher mode is
technique?
on.
Tell us about this
It
technique.
seems like it's
Ajay, if I see it, I don't
Something.
find it threads. There's a technique called cross hatching.
Okay.
We do it with pastels, and you know what? Because I have done it.
Yeah.
So you know, it's a cross hatching with pastels.
Really?
And you do it with the different tools. That's why the lines are very
So it's a
fine.
little bit of color, a little bit of
Yeah,
thread, a little bit
you
of...
put color in the
Okay.
background,
Interesting.
and then you have one basic color on the front, and then you scratch whatever design you want to, and those colors reflect out from the inside.
Wow.
That's why you see the white and the colored areas.
And it's beautiful. So Talpur Saab, this is how competent our industry is. How do you think that in near future we're actually going to get them on a path which is going to lead them towards prosperity? Because it has been a marvelous industry back in the 70s, 80s, 90s, and they have been the breadwinners of Pakistan. So what solutions do we have for them?
Sir, I am optimistic. The youngsters, you see, they already have come up with a lot of products, a lot of innovation, a lot of ideas, and Pakistan have bright future. We already having DFI coming. CPEG is one of the major aspect already installed in Pakistan. And let me to disclose that most of the Chinese textile mills now are being dislocated and they are reallocated along the CPEC lines. So this will again create a boom as far as our unemployed textile youth, non-skilled, both non-skilled and skills are concerned.
Okay.
So this is a good news for them that they will be reemployed there.
That's absolutely great, and that actually brings me to a point that I forgot talking about. I was reading news which mentioned how Chinese companies are actually venturing with Pakistani companies, providing all the necessary things that Pakistan doesn't possess, like the factories and whatnot, like the power outages and whatnot that Pakistan, of course, lacks. So if we're looking at that kind of collaboration with our dear friend China, inshallah, in the near future, I feel like I have big hopes for Pakistani textile industry. But again, if we, thoroughly think through how we're going to partner with Chinese companies. I don't want to go in detail of that, but since we're talking about solutions, how do you think, Sumaira, we can actually make this boom? Because you already mentioned that there's a big market for Pakistani lawn products already.
Yeah.
So I think it's safe to say that Pakistanis are fanatics of textile industry.
yeah.
They're definitely going to, be a part of it. How can we boom that?
Basically, yeah, again, I'll come back to my previous point that we have to first fix our domestic issues. And then we have like a lot of designers that are coming in the market. So we have to see and plan where to position them and use their potential. Because yes, we have a lot of potential. We at the institute, each time students work so much on their collections, they come up with new ideas and the end products are so amazing and they're out of this world. They're new concepts. So we need to channelize, or we have to make a bridge between the academia and the industry where we're lacking actually, and then the government has to be very supportive about it, because this is one of the prime and the major industry that we're not putting our eyes on.
Also, Samira, do you feel like your students, or students of fashion at all, should have like these opportunities to be on exchange programs in probably Milan or somewhere in Italy to learn all those things firsthand? Isn't that like the dream? Yes.
That's again a very valid point. There's where academia come in, and the universities have to build that channel. So I would in fact request the universities to think on those lines, so that that concept of exchange of students can build up, and so that they get more exposure.
Absolutely.
And they can, learn techniques, or maybe there are many departments in fashion or textiles that are not, as you mentioned that the concept of sustainable fashion is not here, but in the West, there are proper degrees on it.
Yes.
So if we follow this exchange process, so definitely we'll bring in their vision here.
Perfect.
That will help our industry.
Thank you very much for saying that. But one last question from Mr. Talpur and Talpur sir before heading out, before saying goodbye to all those people who are out there. I think that one of the things which the people from textile industry wanted to hear was that the zero rated status has actually have not made them very happy, and there was a budget of 1,080 billion rupees which was actually supposed to be dedicated towards the textile industries as well, and it's no more. How do you think that it is going to have an impact on the textile industry?
So this is purely a policy decision, and I think government should reply. As far as my opinion is concerned,
how will it impact?
As far as my opinion is concerned, though there is no need, because in the competitive markets, one should not always look for the concessions. One should come up with a cheap labor, but much more skilled one, and then come up in the market and play its role rather than waiting for the discounts. Number one. The other thing is, most important thing which I want to mention here is, we also, not only ladies I will be discussing for the lawn, they should not only go for the buying, but they should also go for the production.
Exactly.
China, India and Bangladesh, they have 80% of their females population working in the garment industry. Contrary to that, only 30% in Pakistan.
Exactly.
So these issues, cultural issues, they should be looked into.
And they should be
Thank you so much for saying that. That was so important, and I don't know how we left out on that.
Yeah.
But ladies and gentlemen, I really hope that you got something out of this discussion. This was very informative for me, sitting here and learning so much from these amazing people in our studios, and I hope it was for you as well.
Indeed, ladies and gentlemen, with that, please make sure that you write to us on our Facebook page, which is with the name of
Well This Morning.
On Twitter.
Well This Morning without a G.
On YouTube.
PTV World.
Yes, PTV World, and you can definitely look in for Well This Morning as well. The repeat's going to be at
5 past 11 p.m. tonight.
Till the next time, 1, 2, 3.
Good morning.